Hello out there in Facebook world, Twitter and YouTube. J Cherry here. So as many of you guys know, that we now have the new Pfizer BioNTech vaccine was just issued an EUA by the FDA. And you know what? On Facebook, I'm going to share this into the comments right away because I want to share my notes with you guys. So I'm going to share that right away. And on YouTube and Twitter, I'll add that to the thread later so you guys can follow all my notes and you guys can take a look for yourself. So this is some really intense stuff that I found, and that, oops, Howard's like talking back at me, that I want to share with you guys. It's really important to talk about. So I just read the 53-page report that they submitted that they're talking about with the EUAs. So this new vaccine, which is from Pfizer BioNTech. So I want you to really think about that name for a moment. BioNTech. So this BioNTech company that deals with medical products for, they're like innovative. They're a German company. So it's really fascinating. Let's just get into it. So I'm going to share the screen here with you guys. Hopefully, let me see if I can get you right here. So what you're basically seeing here is my backup. Just give me a second as I pull up, I'm going to pull up this photo. Hopefully this clicks open. Okay, so this is a description. I'm going to see if I can blow this up for you guys. So I screenshot this. So I just wanted to read you a description of exactly what this is so you kind of get an understanding of what it is that's going on here with this new vaccine that they are putting out. It's going to be certified via whatever that means. Approved, certified. It's not approved. It's not certified. It's got an emergency usage authorization, which is, it's a strange phenomenon. So let's just take a look. We're not going to read this whole entire paragraph, but I've screenshot a lot of different parts of this that I wanted to share with you. So this is the vaccine. This vaccine is called BNT 62B2. So that's BNT BioNTech 162B2. So safety data from approximately 38,000 participants, 16 years of age, randomized 1-to-1 vaccine or placebo with a median of 2 months of follow-up after the second dose suggests, pay attention because words really matter, suggests a favorable safety profile with no specific safety concerns identified that would preclude issuance of an EUA. So available safety data from all participants enrolled through November 14th, 2020 data cut off, which includes late enrollment of additional adolescents and adult participants, was consistent with the safety profile of approximately 38,000 participants with the median follow-up of 2 months. So let me just explain a little something else to you here as well. So just it gets a little confusing. So I just want to give you guys a pretty thorough explanation, and I've got another slide that I want to share with you. So they did this, what they did is they had 2 groups. They have 3 trials. So they have the first trial, which just goes to see if there's, and I hope I'm not mispronouncing this word, and this is in my notes, so you guys can go look it up, reactogenicity. Am I saying that right? Reactogenicity, which is these crazy words that are hard to pronounce. So basically what that is reactogenicity. I can't speak today. Events or adverse events that are common and known to occur. So basically meaning they're expecting that certain people are going to get soreness or swelling. In some vaccines, it's syncope, which is fainting. So those are basic things that the manufacturer, or what they call this in the FDA protocol here, is the sponsor, which is Pfizer and BioNTech. Okay, so Pfizer and BioNTech have created this vaccine. BNT 162B2 is the name of the vaccine. I shouldn't even be saying that word because my video is probably going to get flagged. I'm probably going to be censored. I'm not on Facebook very much. I'm utilizing Facebook very sparingly. I just really being very cautious with social media, especially with all the profound censorship that's going on. So bear with me here. I should come up with a code name for that word, the V word. So let's just call it by the name that they're calling it, BNT 162B2. So we get to the second trial, which is really interesting. I'm going to pull up another slide for you guys. Bear with me as I share my screen back with you here. And we're going to pull up another slide. Let me just, where did that go? Hold on a second as I get out of here. Let me get just back at it. It's hard to see in my screen. So I'm going to pull up another slide for you. This one here. Okay, so let's take a peek at this. This really struck me so profoundly. It really did. It was just like, wow, this is pretty wild. So let's read this. So a phase 3 randomized and placebo-controlled trial using BNT 16B2 in approximately 44,000 participants is currently ongoing to evaluate the vaccine's safety and efficacy. Vaccine efficacy for the primary endpoint against confirmed COVID-19 occurring at least 7 days after the second dose was 95%, with 8 COVID-19 cases in the vaccine group compared to 162 COVID-19 cases in the placebo group. Data from about 38,000 participants randomized 1-to-1 with a median of a 2-month follow-up after the second dose of vaccine showed a favorable safety profile at doses of 30 whatever in participants 16 years of age and older. On November 20th, 2020, Pfizer and BioNTech submitted an EUA request to the FDA for its investigational COVID-19 vaccine, BNT 62B2, intended to prevent SARS-CoV-2. Okay, so let's just take another look here. In the event the EUA is issued for this product, it would still be considered unapproved. Did you guys hear that? Look. They are putting this vaccine, we are, anyone who takes this vaccine is part of the third trial. So it's not like your typical vaccine that is approved, FDA approval. It's not approved. It's issued in executive emergency order, emergency usage authorization, meaning that the head of health, what is that agency called? HHS. I'm sorry, I'll just use the acronym. It's Health and Human Services or whatever. But HHS, that's the acronym for it. So basically an official in HHS says, yes, the United States is in a state of an emergency and we are going to bypass our typical protocol for a vaccine, for what the approval process is for a vaccine. Folks, the approval process for a vaccine isn't even that great to begin with. So bypassing anything is kind of scary. So let's just continue reading. So it's unapproved and it would be under further investigation under an investigational new drug application. Do you hear that, guys? This is in their own paperwork. You can follow the link and you can read this for yourself. And I suggest that you do. It's 53 pages long and it's worth your time. So until it is licensed, listen to this, okay? So until it is licensed under biologic license application, BLA, licensure of a COVID-19 vaccine will be based on review of additional manufacturing, efficacy, and safety data, providing greater assurance of the comparability of licensed product to product tested in the clinical trials. Greater assurance of safety based on larger numbers of vaccine recipients who have been followed for a longer period of time, and additional information about efficacy that addresses, among other questions, the potential for waning of protection over time. Pretty wild stuff. Let's take another look at this slide. So this just goes into all of what they're doing, the applicable guidance for the industry. It gives your risk-benefit considerations are unique for COVID-19 vaccines, given that an EUA, Listen, guys, listen. And they want to mandate this. New York has already put through legislation that they're going to vote on, their legislature, to mandate this vaccine that is not FDA approved. It is being put onto the market and given to the public via an emergency usage authorization. Okay, just think on that for a minute. So given that an EUA may be requested to allow for a vaccine's rapid and widespread deployment for administration to millions of individuals, including healthy people, the FDA published in October 2020 guidance for industry entitled Emergency Use Authorization for Vaccines to Prevent COVID-19. So they just go into the process of explaining what they've stayed in there. You can also find a link to that in my notes, so you can go and look at what the Emergency Use Authorization for Vaccines to Prevent COVID-19 actually is, and what they're expecting these companies to do that are applying for an EUA. It's pretty wild stuff. Let's take another look at this slide here. Sorry, I think I'm already on that one. So continuation of this, let this really sink in for you guys here. This really blows my mind. So it says continuation of clinical trials following issuance of an EUA for COVID-19 vaccine. Listen, FDA does not consider availability of a COVID-19 vaccine under an EUA in and of itself as grounds for immediately stopping blinded follow-up in an ongoing clinical trial or grounds for offering vaccines to all placebo recipients. To minimize the risk that the use of an unapproved vaccine under an EUA will interfere with long-term assessment of safety and efficacy in ongoing trials, it is critical to continue to gather data about the vaccine even after it is made available under an EUA, meaning that they don't know what's going to happen when they put this vaccine into the general public. They just don't know. They have no idea. Now with Pfizer BioNTech, that's B-I-O, capital N, capital T, tech, they are using, and so is Moderna, they are using an mRNA vaccine. We'll get into what that means in a minute, but let's continue on here. An EUA request should therefore include strategies that will be implemented to ensure that ongoing clinical trials of the vaccine are able to assess long-term safety and efficacy, including evaluating for vaccine-associated enhanced respiratory disease and increased effectiveness as immunity wanes over time, and sufficient numbers of participants to support vaccine licensure. These strategies should address how ongoing trials will handle loss of follow-up information for study participants who choose to withdraw from the study in order to receive the vaccine. Now, I'm not going to go on anymore with that. Let's take another look here. So this is also pretty interesting. This is called Topics for Vaccine and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee. So they just met yesterday or a couple days ago. Listen, it's so fascinating when you really just dive right in and look at what their own literature says. This is what Pfizer and BioNTech sent to the FDA. It's their report on their vaccine, why they think it's going to get approval. It goes into how they determine this. It goes into their trial. They have had 3 trials. The first trial was a smaller sampling just to see if there's going to be an immediate reaction. If the smaller sampling, a lot of people died, maybe they wouldn't have proceeded to the second. So they do a smaller sample. And then in the second trial, they do larger. In this particular one, it's like 44,000 participants. And they get, half of them get the placebo, half of them, and I'm not sure what the placebo is. It's typically not a saline solution. Now, I know that ICANN, which is a nonprofit organization, did pressure Moderna to really use saline. So I'm not 100% sure how that worked and if they did, because usually what they do in vaccine trials is they use a comparator, which is another vaccine. It's just not the COVID-19 vaccine. I believe it was the meningococcal vaccine, but I'm not sure because I haven't gone really digging into what exactly was their placebo. So listen, so based on the totality of scientific evidence available, it is reasonable to believe that the Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine may be effective in preventing COVID-19 in individuals 16 years age and older. The known and potential benefits of the Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine outweigh its known and potential risks for use in individuals 16 years or older. Mind you, they just said in the previous snapshot that I showed you, and this is directly from the document, it just said that this is still considered a trial. It's not approved. It's given access to, we're giving it to the public based on an emergency usage authorization. This is crazy. So let's take a look here. So vaccine composition, this is where it gets really, really interesting. When you start to read what is in this stuff, right? So let's take a look. So Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine is white to off-white, sterile, preservative-free, meaning they're not putting some of the typical offenders in there. Preservative would mean like thimerosal, which is a mercury-based preservative that we know that mercury, why they ever put mercury in a vaccine when we know it's toxic, should also make you sit and ponder for a minute about our FDA and CDC and our government. That is not always having the best interest of our health involved. It seems to me there's a lot of corruption and a commingling of these pharma executives and politicians through campaign financing and money, basically. So anyway, let's continue on. Frozen suspension for intramuscular injection of vaccine contains, now this is where you really need to pay attention and ask yourself, what is that? So here it is. So the vaccine contains a nucleoside modified messenger, RNA, MODRNA. You know what that means, guys? I'm going to tell you what that means. That means, let me just tell you what that means. So that is, it's just like, it's absolutely crazy. There is a note, I'm having trouble getting to the link. So that basically means it's a synthetic drug that they're going to inject into your body. They don't know what it is exactly that's going to happen once they inject this into your body, but that's what they're planning on doing. They're going to just, here you go. Here's this thing that we've never had in human beings ever before in the history of humanity. We're going to take a synthetic modified RNA that basically mimics the COVID-19 virus that causes SARS-CoV-2. So you got SARS-CoV and then you got SARS-CoV-19. It's very strange. So you got the virus and then you got the disease that the virus causes. So what this basically means is you're part of the phase 3 trial. This vaccine, it is not known. They only studied it for a very short period of time. They looked, when they go into the trials, and you can read this document yourself. If you're on Facebook, I immediately just put my notes in there. YouTube and Twitter, I will add that later. On Twitter, I just posted this whole thing with all the screenshots in a big thread with all the links, so you can find it there, probably just underneath this video. So what that means is you're a guinea pig. And they've already started vaccinating people with this stuff. Now, I'm not going to get ahead of myself because there's all kinds of interesting things that I found out. But let's just take a further look at these ingredients. So you've got this nucleoside modified messenger RNA, MODRNA, encoding the viral spike of the glycoprotein. That's really important in this whole thing because they're synthetic, modified messenger RNA is going to attach. What it's going to do is it allows these proteins to be injected into your cells. Okay, and so then the idea is that this modified RNA will tell the body how to react. It basically changes the structure in your body, in your cells, and we don't know what or how or what the long-term effects of this are going to be. That's one thing. And another thing is this list of ingredients. Now, they're not telling you. Here's the other really important thing about the nucleoside modified messenger RNA. They're not telling you how they make it. It's proprietary. Proprietary meaning that they don't have to disclose how they made it. So they tell you that that's in there, but there's a whole nother step that we need to get to that they're not talking about, that they're not discussing. How did they make this nucleoside modified messenger RNA encoding with a viral spike glycoprotein of the SARS-CoV-2, which isn't the actual disease or illness? It's SARS-CoV-19, which they say that SARS-CoV-2 causes COVID-19. It's almost like, HIV causes AIDS, same type of language there. So then it goes into what the lipids are. So the vaccine also includes the following ingredients: lipids, which I can't say all these names, but I looked all this stuff up, and it's basically nanoparticles. It's nanotechnology, and that's what these lipids do. It's nanolipid technology. And so let's just continue reading. So they got potassium chloride, monobasic potassium phosphate, sodium chloride, dibasic sodium phosphate, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So the Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 is supplied as a frozen. They have to keep this thing so frozen, below 80 degrees Celsius. The vaccine must be thawed and diluted, and then they just go into how they wanted to administer it. So they're going to administer it intramuscularly, and it's in a series of 30 dosage, 30 ml each, and 21 days apart. So you're supposed to get 2 doses. You get the first dose, and then you get the second dose. Now, according to their own trials, to Pfizer and BioNTech's trials, the second dose, and I'm sure some of you guys might have heard in the mainstream that they're talking about that, that people are, getting sick, and it's not easy, and some people have missed work, and, they're worried that people aren't going to come back for this second dose because they're not feeling well, because it's pretty wild. So let's take a look at this next one. Okay, this is just a post that it's coming out. U.S. panel endorses Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. Let's jump into the next one. This is just, they give you a glossary. I posted this here because as I was reading it, I needed to go back into it. So it's a good report for you guys to go read. You can read it. You can look things up online. We should have like a study group and talk about it. Now, this was really, really interesting that I wanted to share with you. So the reactogenicity data from a total of 100 adolescents 12 through 15 years of age enrolled in the C4591001 phase. That's basically the second part of the 3 phases. So there's trial 1, which is a smaller sampling, trial 2, which is a larger sampling of 44,000 people, and trial 3, which includes anyone who takes that vaccine. So I just wanted to specify that. So 2 or 3, so that's the part of the study, were provided an EUA submission. However, the sponsor, being Pfizer and BioNTech, did not request inclusion of this age group in the EUA because the available data, including number of participants and follow-up duration, were insufficient to support favorable benefit determinations at this time. Therefore, the reactogenicity data for participants 12 through 15 years of age are not presented in this document. So I thought that that was really interesting, but they include that age group in the overall approval process, even though they're saying that they don't know. And there's 100 kids that got this shot. How can they not have the data? How do they not have that? What are they hiding? What is not being said? Because they want to, at least here in Connecticut, they have so many phases. And phase 3, which they expect in June, is going to include children 18 and younger. Okay? So here it is. They want to give the population a vaccine with a modified RNA in it, a synthetic modified RNA that's never ever been studied or tested in human beings, to the larger population, and they themselves don't even know, according to their own report. And go ahead, Facebook, try to flag this as fake, or take me off your platform or whatever, YouTube and Twitter, because all the tech giants, they all are in bed with pharma and the powers that be that are pushing this through. Do you know how much money is being made on this? It's insane. Billions of dollars. They've already, allocated and bought these vaccines. The United States government has already allocated and bought these vaccines. Okay, so this is pretty serious. Oops. So, sorry, that was a jump out of my my stuff there. Let me go back over here. That's Cuomo, who is talking about closing all the restaurants in New York based on PCR testing. But I have some more stuff that I want to share with you. So you can go look up more about that vaccine. That is the Pfizer BioNTech that just got FDA approval. So let's take a peek at what the MSN is saying about this. Now, I put together some videos that I wanted to share with you. So we're just going to go over here to CNN. I know I hate CNN, but anyway, I just thought I would play this video for you guys. Let's take a look at how the mainstream is talking about this new vaccine.
History was just made in little boxes.
And that concludes the vote. So we do have a favorable vote.
The FDA Advisory Committee just voted to recommend a green light for Pfizer's vaccine.
I think the safety is pretty well demonstrated, and balance that against over 2,000 deaths a day or 2,500 deaths a day, I'm comfortable.
Our plan is to take their recommendations into account for our decision making and make a decision shortly thereafter. Again, it really depends upon the complexity of the issues discussed, but we intend to act quickly.
Needles and syringes already on the move, nearly 3 million vaccine doses ready to be deployed within hours to states. But
I'm really, just fearing what's going to happen over the next several weeks. Hospitals are overwhelmed, people are tired, and quite frankly, people are dying.
Yesterday in America, 3,124 people were reported killed by COVID-19, the highest daily toll of the pandemic. More lives lost than 9/11. Get used to it. The CDC forecasts another 70,000 or so Americans could die from now through New Year's Day. That's an average of over 3,000 people every day. ICUs at 1 in 3 hospitals were over 90% full last week. Reno, Nevada. This wasn't a hospital. It was the parking garage, now filled with beds and patients.
He coughs at nighttime. I can hear him. And if I yell, he can hear me. He knows that I'm still alive.
The worst days, months could still be to come. So, Bill Nye the Science Guy is on TikTok explaining why masks really do work.
Viruses don't travel by themselves. They travel in little droplets of spit and snot. And the fibers are a tangle.
And those who know best are grinching Christmas.
No Christmas parties. There is not a safe Christmas party in this country right now. I don't think we're going to see really a sizable
Okay, guys,
amount of that.
I've had enough. I can't even take. I can't take it. Do you notice though? I just can't even. I can't take it. That was just like the most ridiculous. In the minute that I shared that with you guys, what are they talking about? All they're talking about is how afraid you should be to prepare you to take a vaccine that they're fast tracking through the FDA. That's not even fast tracked because it's not even technically approved. It's issued via executive. I'm sorry, I keep saying executive emergency usage authorization, which is nuts. Okay, and all they're talking about is how afraid you should be, so you go off and you take this vaccine. It's like, are you serious? I mean, what? There's no, how many people were in the trial studies? What were the adverse events? What can we expect? None of that. They're just launch into total fear mongering tactics. It's unbelievable. So I'm going to take you guys into another interesting thing. I'm going to bring you up here. Let's share the screen here. This is, bringing you onto my Twitter. I wanted to talk a bit about BioNTech, which is, this is the company. Now they came up with the modified RNA that they want to inject into you, okay? This company here. So here it is. We feel a duty to exploit. Oh, sorry about that. We feel a duty to exploit our full technology and immunotherapy and blah, blah, blah. It's so wonderful. It's so good. But listen to this part. This is what I found to be really interesting. I'm going to try and blow this up so you guys could read along with me. Bear with me as I try to get that to blow up. Here we go. And let's see, can I still turn? Yeah, all right. So BioNTech's proprietary, I want you to really pay attention to that word proprietary, because that means that they don't have to, BioNTech does not have to tell you how they made that mRNA portion, the vector that's going to deliver the SARS-CoV-2 into your cells via a synthetic modified RNA that's never been ever used in the human body before, till today. Well, till recently. So BioNTech's proprietary mRNA platform to infectious diseases is fully owned by GMP manufacturing infrastructure for mRNA vaccine production. It's a global clinical development capabilities and collaboration with Pfizer and Fosun Pharma. BioNTech was able to bring its first vaccine candidate from concept to clinical development in less than 3 months. Does that make you feel really good, guys? Are you excited for such a thing? It's truthfully insane. Now I'm going to jump around just a hair bit here as I'm spinning. Where did that video go? I had a video I want to share with you. I've been busy today doing a lot of research on this. So I want to share this video with you. This, because it all connects, because one of the fear tactics that they're using to convince you that you want to take this vaccine is that, oh my God, the cases, the deaths, the hospitalization. Well, let me just tell you, people are going to the hospital all the time. They always have been. People are dying every day. They always have been. People get respiratory illnesses this time of year, always have. Older people are more susceptible to die from things like the common cold. Respiratory distress is one of the #1 killers for the elderly and immunocompromised population. Okay, those are just facts that have always been there before we had this pandemic, okay? So let's take a look at this video. This is Dr. Roger Hodgkins, and this is, I believe this is in Canada, I want to say, but it's profound. I want you to take a listen. Completely different than what we're hearing from CNN. Let me just get this so you can hear it.
The scale of the response that you're undertaking, with no evidence for it, is utterly ridiculous, given the consequences of acting in a way that you're proposing. All kinds of suicides, business closures, funerals, weddings, etc., etc. It's simply outrageous. It's just another bad flu. And you've got to get your minds around that. Let people make their own decisions. You should be totally out of the business of medicine. You're being led down the garden path by the chief medical officer of health for this province. I'm absolutely outraged that this has reached this level. It should all stop tomorrow. Thank you very much.
So that's
the
totally,
scale of the response
sorry about that, guys.
Undertaking, with no
so that is a
for
total, totally different perspective. And so what you're seeing by the mainstream media and big tech and all the censorship is because pharma is the biggest industry in the world. Pharma pays for 70% of your broadcast media on, and I'm sorry, NPR lovers, NPR is awful. Sorry, I have to tell you this. I know they sound good. I used to be an avid listener. I hate to tell you that. Be the bearer of bad news. Question everything, okay? I'm just going to say it off the top of my head. A couple of people that you could follow to get really good, hard information that you can trust. You could check out Unlimited Hangout with Whitney Webb. You can also check out The Last American Vagabond with Ryan Christian. And you can also check out Children's Health Defense, which I'm also going to share with you an article about them because I want to get into this topic here, and hopefully I put this on my Twitter feed because I wanted to make it easier as I'm jumping around here and you guys are probably getting dizzy watching this spin. But did I not put that there? Oh, I didn't put that there. It's in my links. Let me see if I could pull this up for you guys in my notes. I'm going to pull this up, bringing my notes up, so you're going to see my notes here. So I also wanted to talk to you about some really positive things that have happened before I get it. Did I not put the Children's Health Defense in here? I guess I didn't share that. How did I not do that? So anyway, the Children's Health Defense, which unfortunately I did not put the link in here. Let me see if it's over here. Dr. Brownstein, Dr. Bartlett. No, I didn't put the Children's Health Defense for this other crazy thing that I found. Oh, here it is. Yes, it is. Yes, I did. I put it here. So let me see. Where is it? There it is. There it is. I'm going to take this link over here. So this is, no, that's the UK. I'm sorry, it's not, there it is. So what I discovered when I was doing some research on the BioNTech is that they, in that per part, because I was curious, what is in the modified mRNA? What is in it? You're not easily going to be able to find out because it's proprietary. So I did find out that there's this stuff in there called neon green. Did you hear that? It comes from sharks or fish. Neon green. So what it does is it makes the blood, it's easier for diagnostics. So this article by Children's Health Defense asked the question, I'm going to pull it up for you. Give me a second as I get it into my browser here. And we're going to go take a look. So they talk about, sorry about that, guys. I thought I had already put the link up here and I hadn't. So they talk about, this is a great article. Children's Health Defense is a wonderful resource. I highly recommend that you take advantage of what they have to offer. Hopefully this is the right link. No, this just goes into the chemical compounds of what the monochromatic yellow-green fluorescent, and basically it's this it's called neon green. And this is, let me see if I can go get to that article from the Children's Health Defense. So this is a patent. There's a big dispute. So I'll leave this up here while I talk about this. There's a big dispute right now happening where they have this patent, and Pfizer and BioNTech both used this without getting licensure and stuff from the people that they're all like fighting over the money. You know, you kind of feel like a piece of cattle, like you're a piece of meat. You've become a commodity for the pharmaceutical industry to make money off of you as they experiment with these weird vaccines in your body, a synthetic modified RNA with this green goo in it. It's called neon green. You can read through that. It is in my show notes. So I'm going to try again to see if I put the children's, I thought I had put the Children's Health Defense in here. If not, I'm going to have to skip it, but let me try one more time and see if this is the proper link. I did not properly mark them. Sorry about that. I was so involved in the study today that I just got ahead of myself. So let's put this here and see how it goes. If that brings us, the Children's Health Defense does such a thorough article on this. Well, this is just another article just going into how this isn't Children's Health Defense, but it goes into Regeneron, which also used it. And BioNTech is accused of infringing on the allele patent in connection with the COVID-19 technologies. I don't unfortunately have the Children's Health Defense article, which is very disappointing. Oh no, there it is. I finally found it. But this article is, it just goes into they're fighting. They want to have usage of the, you know, they want to get their money out of this vaccine. So they're fighting and they're being sued. So this Regeneron is also what they used to treat Trump when he had COVID-19. And I'm not quite sure why they're putting this weird green stuff in the vaccine or into the treatments. I don't know. I'm not sure. I only just discovered this at the end of the day while I was putting together this presentation to do a live for you guys today. So let me go back to my notes and get that Children's Health Defense article because it's really, really good and I want to share that with you. So I'm just going to read to you real quick. If I could blow that up. You guys can see that. Let me go over here if I can blow that up. Actually, let me just copy the link real quick. So I'm going to just blow this up and just read this little quote about this green goo that's in the vaccine because this is like serious stuff. Pfizer is inserting an ingredient derived from marine invertebrate. So it's not shark. Sorry about that. I misspoke there. So a marine invertebrate into its vaccine. Okay. So the ingredient has bioluminescent qualities, making it attractive for medical imaging purposes, but it's unclear why injected vaccine would need to have the equivalent of a visual day glow marker. Neon green has unknown antigenicity. Crazy. So let me take you over and put this link in here. Just take a quick gander. This is Children's Health Defense. You can get great fact-based information from Children's Health Defense, which is heavily censored. You should question why they want to censor these things. This is Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s foundation that he started. He's done a lot of great work for the benefit of our earth, for, doing stuff to help to have clean water and a clean environment. And he stepped into the vaccine thing when mothers came to him about being poisoned by mercury, which he was very informed about because he was working on getting mercury out of the rivers and out of the environment. So that's just a short synopsis on that. So this is the article. It's pretty lengthy. I highly recommend that you check it out. He goes into very great details, but also too, so Pfizer's partnering with BioNTech uses a messenger RNA technology in their vaccine and will apply for a coveted emergency use authorization from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, likely before the end of November. That just happened. So early results sound encouraging to some, but experts like Eric Topol, director of SCIP's Research Transitional Institute, indicated the vaccine might not turn out to be as effective as the once the trial is complete and all of the data has been analyzed. However, its effectiveness is likely to stay well above 50%. Pfizer's study protocol states success at the final analysis will achieve a minimum 30% efficacy. Did you hear that? With greater than 98% certainty. What? We hope the vaccine is not 30 to 90% effective against mild illnesses. Think about that, guys. You're going to take a vaccine that could potentially make you sick, have profound effects that we don't yet know are there because they are still not done with the phase 3 of their trials. You are part of phase 3 of their trials. So that is just something to really think upon. That is just something where you say to yourself, what? What is going on here? How could this even be? What? So there you have it with that. So this is a great article. I highly recommend that. Oh, here's an interesting thing too in this article. Illegal to mandate vaccines under emergency use authorization, which is really important for our friends in New York to know. Also for all the medical freedom advocates here in Connecticut to know this, because we are going to do the same battle. I'm not sure when it will come up, but I did hear through the grapevine that vaccines are coming up in our session, which will kick off in January. So that's soon. But listen to this. This is very interesting. Any COVID vaccine approved for emergency use should be voluntary since the vaccines are considered investigational or held to a much lower standard for both efficacy and safety. For example, compared to the non-emergency approval process to get full licensure, an emergency approval allows for a vaccine that may be effective compared to the non-emergency approval process where a vaccine must demonstrate substantial effectiveness. And for those of you guys that are in the medical freedom movement, you also know that the way that they test vaccines and, approve vaccines has a lot of problems. And here's just one other thing that I want you guys to sit and think about for a minute. Pfizer, BioNTech, they are all immune. They have no liability for an experimental vaccine that they're going to give to thousands, potentially millions of people. Zero liability, zero, nada, nothing, not a thing. That should be very concerning to most people, I would think. But as we go speeding down Lightspeed, that's what BioNTech called it, Lightspeed, Operation Lightspeed. So I've read some other things about green fluorescent stuff being in the vaccines. There's one patent called luciferase, which is a shiny green goo that they also can put in these vaccines. So that's real. You could go look it up. Luciferase. It's made with bugs, lightning bugs. It just, and then the AstraZeneca vaccine, they're using monkey viruses in the AstraZeneca vaccine. I'm probably going to be totally thrown off Facebook. I don't care, because Facebook, screw you. I'm going to do it until I can't anymore. And I recommend to everybody out there, be guarded about how much time you give to Facebook. So I'm going to take advantage of their platform as long as I can. So I wanted to share this with you. One of the things that came out from the report was, and now Pfizer and BioNTech said, nope, they deny this. But one of the investigators said that they saw this. And I was like, what is this? Lymphadenopathy. So you know what that is? It's like when your lymph nodes swell up. So I just wanted to show you, look at this. Look at this. You imagine? So you're going to go get a vaccine for an illness that's mild for most people. I mean, let's just be honest about that. It's an illness that's mild for most people. You're going to get it that can give you this potential for a side effect? Like, seriously? I don't understand it at all. So, sorry, I didn't mean to go back there. So now I wanted to share with you real briefly. I don't want to get into this. I'm going to do a whole show just on this, but I wanted you to see this. This is from Dr. Brownstein, who used to be on Facebook. And at the beginning of the COVID, he was doing these Saturday sessions where he'd have the people that he worked with. He's a functional medical doctor. He's an MD. He has a practice in Michigan. I wish I lived in Michigan so I could go see him. He's wonderful. I've been following his work for many years. He's a classically trained medical doctor, but he also is a functional medicine doctor, so he knows all about alternatives and nutrition and orthomolecular therapy, which is basically using vitamins to help with the body's healing process. So he was doing these Saturday sessions with his team of other doctors, and they were treating people with COVID. And they hadn't lost one person. Not anybody died, and I want to say that nobody was hospitalized, but I'm just kind of at the forefront of reading this study, but let's just take a look at the abstract. This report is a case series of consecutive patients diagnosed with COVID-19 treated with nutritional and oxidative medical approaches. We describe the treatment program and report the response of the 107 COVID-19 patients. Now, for doing this study, Dr. Brownstein was banned off of Facebook. He had to take this study down. He had to take it all off the internet. It's only back up there now, and you got to kind of dig for it. You can find a link to it in my show notes, and you can read it for yourself. It's very hopeful, and I was really discouraged and disappointed. I know that Facebook is heavily into censorship, but to see something so positive with such promising results and all this fear, and people are masked up, and they're closing up our businesses, and they're closing up our restaurants, and they're telling you can't go hug your family members, you can't have a funeral, you can't have Christmas, you can't have Thanksgiving, you can't have anything, nothing. You got to stay in your house by yourself with a mask and don't go anywhere. Meanwhile, there's a doctor in Michigan successfully treating people with 100% success rate. I don't think he lost anybody. You could read through the study. I'm pretty sure he had nobody die. I don't even think he had anyone hospitalized. It was absolutely fascinating. He was doing this for a bunch of Saturdays till Facebook. It got so popular that Facebook censored it. Because why? Community standards. You should be sick and scared, or you should be scared to get that vaccine. Is that it? What is it? Can we have an answer to that question? I don't know. Anyway, so I wanted to share that with you, and I'm going to close out with this last thing. Let me just go get my notes. So I found this particular video, and this particular doctor, not this video, but this particular doctor, and I highly recommend that you check out Del Bigtree with Highwire. If you already aren't familiar with that. But Del Bigtree with the Highwire, this is where I heard about this treatment. I just want to show that there are ways to treat COVID outside of vaccination that many doctors all around have discovered. So let's take a listen.
Is touting a common asthma treatment as a possible drug treatment to coronavirus. One America's Amanda Brulhanty spoke with Dr. Richard Bartlett and has more.
And I'm not afraid of COVID-19 anymore. And you can tell your viewers, I'm telling your viewers right now, they don't have to be afraid of COVID-19 either. There's an answer.
What you just heard is Odessa, Texas Dr. Richard Bartlett, who claims he's found the silver bullet for coronavirus. He's suggesting a common asthma medicine and says it's so simple, you won't even have to leave your couch.
Preschoolers that have asthma, I'm talking about budesonide, a inhaled steroid that's used with a nebulizer machine. So it's used daily by millions of children in the United States to protect them from asthma. So I use that nebulizer treatment, a respiratory anti-inflammatory medicine for a respiratory inflammatory problem called COVID. And I also give an antibiotic to protect from secondary bacterial pneumonia called clarithromycin. And I also put a person on zinc, which interferes with virus multiplication, but the silver bullet is the inhaled steroid.
Dr. Bartlett said budesonide blocks inflammatory chemicals and is a, quote, perfect treatment. And he even gave OAN breaking news on the steroid's possible effectiveness in another Texas hospital.
And I haven't shared this anywhere else because I was driving here for this interview, and I just got word from a hospital administrator that a colleague of his told him that their hospital ICU was emptied when they started this budesonide protocol in the ICU. And so that was in Frio Regional Hospital, south of San Antonio.
The doctor called the hospital administrator, John Houston, and Chief of Staff, Oscar Garza, heroes after seeing his interview on America Can We Talk and trying the treatment themselves. Dr. Bartlett says patients have said chest pains, shortness of breath, and the cough stops. He claims he's had 0 deaths since using budesonide, and by avoiding hospitals, it's cheaper.
It costs $200 if you paid cash. The hospitals would be overwhelmed with COVID. Well, this is a treatment that keeps people from even going to the hospital. When they are treated before the hospital and they recover without ever going to the hospital, that should be beautiful news.
More than 25 million Americans have asthma, and budesonide can be used daily while decreasing the number and severity of asthma attacks.
The inflammatory chemicals that are released in COVID-19 would be interleukin 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 13, 15, SCF, GM-CSF, thromboxanes that cause increased clotting total body. Guess what inhaled budesonide blocks? Every one of those. It's a perfect match.
Oxford, Queensland, and Australia, NIH, France, and Spain are also exploring clinical trials of inhaled corticosteroids after Oxford found the drug has been shown to suppress coronavirus too. But Dr. Bartlett is asking others to consider this method.
I have the answer for it, and it's no longer a secret. It's not my proprietary secret. I want people to live and not die.
Keep in mind the method still needs more research in its use against COVID-19. For One American News, I'm Amanda Berlanti.
So I just thought that was absolutely fascinating. I originally saw that interview with Del Bigtree on the Highwire, and I just pulled up a short video. There you could look at a more in-depth interview with Del Bigtree that's a bit longer over on thehighwire.com, and go check that out. That's Dr. Richard Bartlett. So the point is there are treatments out there. We have Dr. Brownstein's study, which I'm going to do a whole show on Dr. Brownstein's study. That was, for me personally, that's where I'm going to go to. I'm going to go to the natural realm. That's where I feel the most comfortable. But, there's other pharmaceuticals out there with low side effect ratios that are very successful in helping with COVID-19 instead of injecting people with a modified RNA vaccine that's never been used in human beings before. And you are phase 3 of the trial. So right before I go, just want to remind you guys of this reality. So let me take you back over here. That's New York shutting things down. This is just, it goes through all of the, the study of CS491001 initially enrolled 30,000. They go into all this different stuff. Let me see. There's more. This is just like the adverse reactions that you can get. So this is the vaccine. Oh, I'm sorry. You guys see that? I lost my screen. Can you see that now? Are you seeing that? Oh, no, I lost my screen totally. That's a bummer. Let me see if I can do that again. Okay. You guys aren't seeing my screen. There we go. And that's not what I wanted. Where did it go? I want the reaction. So I'm sorry I'm making you dizzy here. I was just about to finish up too. I just lost the reactions. Here we go. So, it has the adverse events. It has a chart here. So you can go and look up this stuff for yourself. They go into talking about reporting it to VAERS. I just had that chart. Where did it go? Okay, here we go. This is, these are the adverse reactions. Oh, an error in recording. I hope I didn't lose it. It looks like I'm still on there. I wonder what happened. Anyway, there's some kind of error. Probably being, the algorithms are like, this lady's talking about the vaccine. We're going to censor her, kick her out Facebook. If they do that, you can find me on Telegram. I'm not on there that much, but I plan on being more on Telegram, jcherry1. I'm also on Float. My videos should be going up on BitChute. I'm still at YouTube. I'm broadcasting on YouTube, also broadcasting on Twitter. So if I get censored and kicked off of Facebook, you can find me there. And we have to find ways to still continue to communicate with people. And I'm looking into other platforms to continue to produce this content. So anyway, this is the, they do for each trial phase, the trial 1, trial 2, and of course, number 3 is you if you get this vaccine. But these are some of the things that they've, headache was profound. That was a lot in a lot of them. This one, let me see. So this is like, I believe this is the second phase. And as you can see, pain at the injection site, fatigue, 5%. And this is the early sampling, okay? This isn't even like all of the possibilities. They don't even know. But it's just pretty wild that we're in this situation where they can, sorry about that, guys. They can give, that the FDA would issue an an emergency usage authorization, given the uncertainty of this vaccine and the fact that it's a brand new type of vaccine. And one of the things that the Children's Health Defense said was, okay, with vaccines, they're biologics. They call it biologics because they're made with blood. Okay, I know that's kind of creepy, and DNA. So typically vaccines are made with blood, aborted fetal tissue, egg, canine. I mean, I'm not kidding you, okay? So that's typically how they grow the virus, and they use an adjuvant, which is typically aluminum, or they use preservatives in adjuvants like thermosol and those kinds of things. So the mRNA is synthetic. And the last thing that I do want to say is there's polyglycoline in there. I'm sorry if I'm saying that right. It's a polymer, but 70% of the public is allergic to that polymer. Let's see if I can get that in the notes over here. So this is the patent on the BioNTech. It's still not approved. It's pending for the, and I keep popping off of here. I wonder if I'm still recording, but it's still under investigation. There's a study. This is Dr. Brownstein. Unfortunately, I don't have that information about the polyglycol. Let me see something here. Let me get that. Oh, I'm totally screwing up over here. Anyway, there's a component in the vaccine that 70% of the population can be allergic to, and you wouldn't even know it. It's the same thing as antifreeze. It's polyglycol, and I think I'm mispronouncing it. I just want to get back to the ingredients, if I can here. Let me see where those ingredients are. So here it is. So the ingredient in here, where is that okay, man, if I can say this right, polyethylglycol. Okay, I can't even say it, polyethylglycol. You get it. It's a component in the vaccine. Let me see if I can blow that up so you guys can see it better. This thing right here. Polyethylene glycol. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sorry about that if I'm totally killing that with pronunciation. But go look this up, okay? This is basically antifreeze. It's a polymer. It's like it's a way and a means for them to distribute this modified synthetic RNA into your body that we don't know what can happen to you. So check this chemical out. Go do some research on it. The Children's Health Defense talks about it. You want to know what these ingredients are because you are phase 3 of the clinical trials for Pfizer, Moderna, BioNTech. Yeah. Check out Patrick Wood. He talks a lot about technocrats. You'll get why I'm so fixated on the BioNTech aspect of this company, which is a German company. They're out of Germany. So that's all for today. That's a kind of a lot. I covered quite a bit there. And you can follow all my show notes and go read those links and articles for yourself because it's up to you to protect your health, not the government.